Hello, this is Matt on the Moon Lambo channel, and I've got 3 Ripple and XRP related stories for you in this latest Moon Lambo hot jam. Start with this one from You Today. 85 million XRP shifted by Ripple European on-demand liquidity corridor and other market players. I also have an article from the Daily Hodl which quotes Ripple CTO and co-creator of the XRP ledger, David SCHWARTZ. He talks about things from a legal perspective, and I think you'll find his insight rather interesting. And I'll wrap up the video with a story from You Today about the importance of bridging central bank digital currencies. And spoiler alert, it's a thing that matters because, look, fiat currencies, whether they're this new digital form with blockchain technology backing them, or whether it's the current digital ledgers of fiat currencies, or whether it's cryptocurrency, none of this interoperates. You need a bridge currency for all of this to interoperate, and China is acknowledging that. And I'm going to share with you the specifics in this video. Now, I do want to be clear that I don't have a financial background of any kind. I'm not offering financial advice, and so you should not buy or sell anything because of anything that I say or write. I'm just an enthusiast who makes YouTube videos on the webernets purely as a hobby about Ripple and XRP and crypto-related stories, but that is indeed all that it is. Okay, so into this piece now. 85 million XRP. Popular crypto tracking service Whale Alert has detected several major transactions carrying Ripple-affiliated XRP tokens. Overall, 85 million XRP has been shifted by leading European crypto platform Bitstamp and several other crypto exchanges. And that's an equivalent of, at the time of publishing anyway, about $42 million. Now, according to data shared by Whale Alert, the exchanges were Bitstamp, BitGo, and I think there may have been a few others. But you know what this made me think of? I was actually just talking about this in a video, I think it was yesterday, is that there was a huge amount of XRP transferred from Bitstamp to cryptocurrency exchange Uphold. It was 25, I believe it was 25 million XRP. And there's speculation that the reason that XRP is moving from Bitstamp is because in the United States, you can't trade XRP on Bitstamp thanks to the SEC going after Ripple, claiming it was, Ripple sold XRP as an unregistered security, and all the cryptocurrency exchanges, at least for now, halting the trading. And so there's only 3 cryptocurrency exchanges in the United States where you can trade, as I'm sure most of you at this point know, which would be Uphold and Bitrue and GateHub, and that's it. There's nothing else if you're in the United States anyway. And so this all gets back to this issue of insufficient regulatory clarity, leading to an absolute train wreck. It's regulation by enforcement. It's nonsensical. It's unfair. It's hypocritical. And there's all sorts of conflicts of interest at play, which I've been citing in recent videos, which I'm not going to go to in this video. But as a result, I did want to share with you some perspective from David SCHWARTZ. And so here's the article from the Daily Hodl. Lack of regulatory clarity creating climate of absolute fear in the United States, according to top Ripple executive. And so it begins as follows. Ripple Chief Technology Officer David SCHWARTZ is decrying the lack of regulatory clarity surrounding the crypto sector in the United States. And this, so I'm going to read to you some quotes from him, and this comes from a new interview from Thinking Crypto. And I talked a little bit about what David had said in this particular interview a few days back. But here we have somebody that's obviously transcribed some of these specifics, and I have not highlighted this, so I wanted to share with you his perspective here. And so check this out. This is from David SCHWARTZ. In other countries, there's always a possibility that they'll put new regulations on something new, and as well they should. If something new comes out that's unregulated, reasonable, sensible regulation makes sense. And sometimes in the short term, they'll panic a little bit and say, let's just stop this until we can decide what the policy is going to be. That's not what you see in the United States. What you see in the United States is just this absolute fear that regulators will turn around and say, you should have realized years ago what you were doing was clearly illegal, despite the fact that regulators themselves don't even know. Yeah. So to me, it's like I read that, like, Truer words have never been spoken. Now, Schwartz says he worries that if the United States continues to create what he views as an unfriendly environment for innovation in the blockchain and crypto sector, those boundary-pushing companies will take their businesses elsewhere, leaving the U.S. behind. Yeah, and so don't rule that out. If this isn't cleared up in a favorable way, you know, what's happening with the SEC and Ripple undoubtedly will leave the country. If they're put in a position where they can't even conduct business, what do you think they're going to do? There are all sorts of jurisdictions the world over that would love to have them. And so if the SEC actually wants to push economic productivity and technological innovation outside of the United States, they can absolutely do it, but it's not going to kill XRP, and I don't even think necessarily that it's going to kill Ripple, the company, because they can just incorporate in X number of places around the globe. It would just be bad simply for the United States, and in the short term, I wouldn't be surprised if you see some really bad price action for XRP if there's some sort of bad law that's pushed down. And by the way, I don't think that's going to happen, so I'm not trying to spread fear or anything along those lines. I'm very optimistic based on analysis that I've seen from all sorts of lawyers that have been publicly sharing their opinion within the XRP community, which I'm thankful for because I don't have a legal background at all. And so without them sharing their perspective, I admittedly would be more concerned because I wouldn't have sufficient knowledge to have a reasonable position on what is likely to occur. And so here's another quote from David Schwartz now. What I worry about is the United States embraced the internet from a very early day. And if you look at companies like Microsoft, Amazon, Google, all the biggest US companies in the past decade have been internet companies, and that's because the US embraced the internet. And I'm worried that there's a new technology that could create the next crop of mega companies. You know, Coinbase already is probably going to have a $100 billion evaluation, and that's not the end. And the US is driving these companies offshore. I mean, imagine if the US had driven the internet offshore. These companies would still exist and they'd still be doing business in the United States. Many countries were probably not happy with the fact that the internet could be used to radicalize terrorists, could be used to steal trade secrets, to hack into infrastructure. They've all faced a take it or leave it choice, and pretty much every country has. Exactly, and there were people in the 90s that wanted to regulate the internet out of existence. I mean, just this idea, wait a minute, you're talking about the proliferation of data the world over. Anybody can have any information. Oh my God, it's super duper scary. And so you could have think through all these doomsday scenarios, but why not just sufficiently regulate it and not outlaw it? Because look, it's going to happen regardless. Like the genie's out of the bottle. Crypto is here to stay, not going away. And if Ripple has a good business model and they continue to gain traction, XRP, I believe, will not go away either, as long as it continues to solve a real-world problem. And it's early days, so we don't know exactly how that's going to pan out. But still, I'm optimistic, and it's one of the reasons that I'm happy to be an XRP holder. And the way that I look at it is what's appealing about crypto is when you hold it, it's not just about one company being a cheerleader for that particular blockchain, for that particular cryptocurrency ecosystem. What's more appealing than that is that you could have a ton of developers building on top of the ledger, which adds value, that adds utility. And if there's a cryptocurrency like XRP with tons of developers building on top of that ledger, well, then it deserves to be traded in perpetuity as long as it's solving real problems for real people. And that is indeed what we're seeing today. I just don't want it to be ruined by the United States federal government. Is that so much to ask? Come on, like, just come on. Come on, be nice. When you're talking about the SEC, though, it's just this antiquated regulatory system. It cannot have possibly conceived back when, if you're talking about the Howey test back in 1946 when that all went down, it couldn't have, those people could not have possibly conceptualized the idea of the internet or people having the sum of all human knowledge in their pocket at all times, via smartphones that have access to the internet. They couldn't have, ever fathomed blockchain technology and cryptocurrencies with no central authority. And so to shoehorn that into ancient regulation, there's a reason that it's messy. It cannot sufficiently accommodate for it. You need to tweak something in order to stop all of this nonsense. But again, XRP, it is functionally useful. Do you remember this? This is going to lead into my next story. This is something that hit hit the news in the beginning part of March. This is Ripple Insights. That's Ripple's official blog, and this piece was titled, Ripple Pilots a Private Ledger for Central Banks Launching Central Banks Digital Currencies, March 3rd this year. And so I'm not going to read the article. Excuse me. I'm not going to read the article. I covered this in great detail. But what you need to know is that the open source XRP ledger, the software that is the XRP ledger itself, that can be taken and it can be copied and used for different purposes. It can be retooled, and Ripple has done that. So again, the XRP ledger completely open source. So they took the XRP ledger, they made a new version of it that's a template for central banks. We're talking about banks of the federal governments. That's what a central bank is. And they can launch their own central bank digital currency on technology that's based on the XRP ledger, but is not the XRP ledger. Now, of course, they wouldn't want to put their crypto, well, I shouldn't call it cryptocurrency, their central bank digital currency on a decentralized platform because there's no kill switch, and they can't, if something goes horribly wrong, however unlikely, they can't roll back time and undo transactions. This and that those powers don't exist. And so, of course, they're going to want to have special powers, which is why to everybody on the fringe in the XRP community that thought that the XRP ledger would be used to support central bank digital currencies, I've been saying since way before this, I've been saying for last year and a half, 2 years, whatever it's been, whenever this first came up, that I said, no, that is not how this is going to go down. A central bank would never put a central bank digital currency on any open source blockchain. It's not because there's something wrong with XRP, it's because they don't have sufficient control. This is not hard to understand here. Yet there are all sorts of people that were on the fringe of the XRP community that insisted this was going to happen. But even David Schwartz, he articulated in this interview, no less, that that there's no way that was going to happen. And he cited some of the reasons I just cited right here, right now. But this is still good. The fact that there is a template for central banks to create their own central bank digital currencies, this is quite a positive, and it'll give them tremendous power over their own blockchain. And the reason this is good for XRP is because XRP can bridge all sorts of cryptocurrencies. I've been saying this forever too. This is not hard to comprehend, frankly, and this has been part of Ripple's plan for some time. And so XRP is the only cryptocurrency that's being positioned for this use case, and it's not just going to magically happen to some other crypto, especially not Bitcoin, which isn't even technologically sufficient to solve this problem. And so then you get to this piece from You Today. This is brand new, titled Echoing Ripple. China's central bank calls for interoperability between different central bank digital currencies. And so to everybody that was crying out when Ripple published this piece in early March this year, saying, "Oh my gosh, a central bank, digital currency private ledger, and it doesn't use XRP. XRP's not on it. This is bad." And it's like people didn't think through the mechanics, like functionally, how money moves around the planet before forming these opinions and spouting it off all over Twitter and the rest of social media, because I don't think they could articulate the way that money's flowing even, but they have these opinions that it's bad because XRP not on ledger. No, it's not about XRP being on, it can only be on one blockchain, but you need it to be used as the glue of the Internet 2.0, the Internet of Value, as a bridge currency. And China even understands this, which is why I'm telling you, like, these are all positive developments. And think about this, even if you don't get that, why would you think this is bad for XRP? You think Ripple's going to do something bad for XRP when they have the most to lose if things go poorly for the XRP ecosystem? You think that they're going to do something stupid? Certainly nothing will be perfectly non-messy. Like, mistakes can be made, this or that, and adjusted. But do you really think they'd launch a separate blockchain for central banks if it were bad for XRP and bad for Ripple? I sure as hell don't think so. And so here you go in this piece. The head of the People's Bank of China's Digital Currency Research Unit stressed the importance of interoperability between different central bank digital currencies, or CBDCs for short, during a seminar held by the Switzerland-based Bank for International Settlements. And here's a quote. "Interoperability should be enabled between central bank digital currency systems of different jurisdictions and exchanges." Precisely. And so cryptocurrencies, fiat currencies, central bank digital currencies, tokens in general, none of them magically speak to one another. They do not interoperate. If you want to convert one to another, you need a bridge currency. There is no other way to do this. And again, XRP is the only cryptocurrency that's being positioned today for this type of use case, in enterprise-grade software, no less. And so, to me, this is all positive and exciting, and once something becomes a standard, it's hard to supplant it. So if XRP really does globally get adopted for this use case, it could be around for decades or longer. And there's no way to know. Again, to me, this is all very exciting, but you don't know for sure. But, that's part of the bet I'm making is that there will be adoption of XRP in general. This is a big piece of it. And so I think this is a tremendous positive, and I wanted to share it with you, but I will wrap up there. I'm not a financial advisor. Do not buy or sell anything because of anything that I say or write. That would be a very, very, very bad idea. Until next time, to the moon, Lambo.